Hello everyone, my name is Marek Grzesłowski and today I'm going to tell you about penetration testing from the perspective of penetration tester and some mistakes or sins that are made by, not by pen tester itself, but people that are around the pen tests. Small disclaimer, all those opinions are my private opinion, not my company's. So. A few words about me. Right now I'm working for a TrustFace Spider Lab as an application security consultant. I'm also OWASP Poland chapter member, board member, and I'm doing the penetration test with 6 years. Previously I was working also in IT, but not the security. Okay, some definition on the beginning. What is a vulnerability assessment? It's a process when you identify and quantify vulnerabilities with the system. And what is the penetration test? I won't read it. It's a quite big definition. But what is important, if you compare this definition to vulnerability assessment, there are 2 points that are worth to mention. The penetration test contains active analysis and active exploitation. With those 2 factors, you cannot say that you had a pen test. You had a vulnerability assessment, scanning or whatever, but not a pen test. Nice quote. If you fail the penetration test, so if you've got like findings in your report, then you know that you have a problem. But if you don't have any findings in your test, you do not have that you still have a problem. You do not know that you still have a problem. This is the feature of penetration testing. They cannot tell you that your system is safe. They can tell you that your system is not safe. Okay, 3 people will be in this presentation. 3 kind of people. First kind of people is like project manager, risk analyst, or I don't know how it's called in different corporations, different companies. It's called different. Generally, this is the person that is responsible from the client side for the pen test, for managing the pen test, scheduling the pen test, and everything that's going around on the client side. Then we have a pen tester, generally the very skilled security guy. And we have some programmers, developers, or the company that is creating the software and is responsible for creating and fixing the bugs. So how generally penetration testing process looks like. So first there is some kind of request. I will skip all those corporation stuff, but generally the project manager requests a pen test, sending the scope, sending the accounts, scheduling the process to the pen tester. The pen tester is doing his job and sending, as a result, the report. The report is something that I, as a pen tester, need to produce and send to the client, and based on this report, something is going further. So the project manager, the person who is responsible, consult this with the programmers, with the company that created the software, or anyone that's responsible for writing the code. And the programmers fix those bugs, hopefully. And then there's not always, but a request for the retest. And then the pen tester say, yeah, you fix all the vulnerabilities. Yeah, utopia. It's never happened to me that after the retest I said, yeah, you fix all the bugs. That's why the presentation is about, in every of the stage, the mistakes can be made that are related to, that influence the result of the pen test. So we'll be talking about sins, so we need the sinners. So we've got two sinners, project manager and programmer. We're not talking about the skilled security guys. We do not make sins. Okay, so once again, the project manager or the risk analyst is someone who is responsible, and they have this kind of, not say to feature, but they always want the pen test as soon as possible. Everybody. The programmer developer, the main problem with them is that the knowledge about security is not very wide. Sometimes it's zero. They do not nothing about the security. So okay, first thing, be careful, it's our production system. So we got 3 categories here, like inappropriate environment, scanner restriction, and user input restriction. So what is inappropriate environment? When we're doing a pen test, we need an environment when we're going to perform this pen test. So we can divide the environment for 3 different environments, like dev, UAT, or staging, or how we can call it. Sometimes there is something which is called pre-prod, pre-production, and of course the production. Dev UAT. The problem with dev UAT is that it's really UAT, it's really dev. It's not sometimes fully functional, not patched. The data there are from the space or somewhere. There is not, sometimes it's much going with the code. They are doing a fixing, patching every day. They're changing the functionality. And even the smallest change in the code can create new vulnerabilities. So it's not a good environment for a pen test. The pre-production, this is a very good environment for a pen test because it should be, not always, but it should be the same application in production. The application should be filled with data that are really close to real, and the automation test can be performed. So this environment is really really good for a pen test, but in my life I've seen this kind of environment once. I was doing some pen tests in one of the banks, and they really provide an environment that once a day during the night, it was clear with all data, and the new data were uploaded there from the production. So it was really nice environment to test. Everything was set up. I could do everything. I could destroy any data that I wanted, and knew that next day new data will be uploaded. Production. Personally, I like doing tests on the production, but the guys that are responsible for the risk sometimes get heart attacks, what we are doing, because not every environment is prepared for pen testing in the production. And there are some other restrictions, like we cannot perform automating tests, you need to perform it during these hours, you've got only 5 hours per day, etc., so not very good. The scanners restriction. Sometimes the risk managers or the people put some scanners restriction that you are not allowed to do the pen test because you are sending too many requests. So yeah, but it's your problem. If I can send too many requests, someone other can also send too many requests. If I can shut down your system, anybody can do it. And because of lack of not only the scanners, but generally automation in our testing, because it's not only the scanners, sometimes it's fuzzing, etc., lower the value of tests and can sometimes hinder the discovery of some vulnerabilities. An example. I was testing an application when it was, of course, I could run the scanner, and after like 1 minute or 2, the application was crashing, and I contacted the manager asking what's happening, and they said, yeah, because we have like restriction that only 60 connections can be made from the application to the database, and if there is more, the application is not working. So I asked him if I can do it with the scanner, any attacker can do it and can DOS your application. So the application will be not working for you. Yeah, okay, your problem. Another restriction is user data. This is funny one. I've met this restriction once when I was asked not to place data that are malicious and can like create any attacks, because they are using those data also in the production. So please do not test like any store vulnerabilities like stored XSSs. So we said, okay, we will not be trying to place malicious code like in the fields when can be safe in the database. So we'll be doing like in the search or anywhere else that can be only reflected. But we figure out that all requests that are sent by the search functionality are stored in the administration logs. and every XSS that we try during this search process was not working in us, but execute on the admin side. And they were really pissed off of this. Yeah, but something's happening. Okay, another one. My NESSUS is better than yours. Something that risk analysts and people that are responsible for pen testing love. Scanners. Scanners sometimes are treated as a penetration test, really. Sometimes people think that if they run the scanner, it will be the same as someone is working on it, and they think that the scanners looks like a one big button when you place your URL and then you hack the application and you've got all those nice findings. No, it's not true. Scanners should be treated only as a supporting tools for a penetration testing. And I was trying to find something similar, some tool that you can compare to scanners, and Chainsaw is very good tool to compare. I will tell you why. Because to run the Chainsaw, you need some skills. If you've got a good skill, high-level skill with the Chainsaw, and you have additional small tool, you can do something like that. It's an ice sculpture. So if you really know how to use a Chainsaw, you can do it like this. Let's see if it works. But if you do not have the skills, you are doing like this. No. So really, the same as with those, thank you for the guy that produced it. The same as with the automation tools. They're useful, but you need to know how to run it. If not, you're cutting the tree like this. Example from my work why you should know about this. Once I was testing an application, ran the scanner. I had something else to do, so the scanner was running. And after like 4 hours, it was 3% of all the scanning, it produced me a report that we've got 243 confirmed XSSs, 97 XSSs, and 99 page of the report. It creates after 3% of whole application. And I was wondering why. It's not possible. And the result was simple. Any malicious code that you try to place in fields automatically redirect you to the error page. And this error page was vulnerable to XSS. So in any field that the scanner found was redirected and was reported as a XSS. Any. So if you do not have person that can read this kind of report and is intelligent to see, okay, maybe you do not have a problem with all the pages, but only with one, you've got like hundreds of pages of the report and nothing valuable in it. It was not false positives. The scanner was interpreting the problem because it was injecting in the field. Then he got redirection. So he treated still as a process, redirect to the error page, and the error page took the thing that you place was showing that you place this one in the field, it's not allowed, it's malicious. Yeah, I know that. And it was executing because it placed the hole. So it was not false positive, but the problem was not in the current page, but in the error page. But you need to know it. You need to read the report, and you need to know how the scanner tool is working, and you need to get some results from the report, not only just send the report from the scanner. A very good quote from Michael Howard: tools do not make software security, they help only the process and enforce the policy. So it's very important. The third one, do you have a moment I need a pen test? Project managers love this kind of stuff like, yeah, I need to do a pen test, and the application is going in 1 week to the production, so we need to like 2 days to fix the findings that you've got, so like 3 days is enough or not? No. But yeah, the problem is that the people that arrange the schedule, the pen tests, sometimes do not know that it's time consuming and it requires a time Of course, it all depends what kind of application is that, how big is it, because sometimes the web applications are really, really, really big. And you need to also remember that an attacker that tries to hack into your operation has unlimited amount of time. This is old slide, but I want to show that we were discussing also today and yesterday about the Heartbleed and other vulnerabilities that were found after a few years. So we need to remember that if the pentester have 1 week, and some vulnerabilities can be there like for years. So let's give him a time. We need to adjust the time to what we need to achieve. Another one, you can use only red crayon. Why I called it is like from my childhood when we were drawing and you do not have all the crayons, so you use only one color to paint all the things like sun, clouds, and everything was in one color. And it's the same. It's like when we've got inappropriate scope, we skip some functionalities or we are missing of data. Inappropriate scope is when the project manager, the risk manager are trying to create the scope that it's not the whole system. And sometimes vulnerability can be injected through one system and executed by another. It's important to test not the application, but the whole system and have access to whole system. A very good example, I was testing for one bank also, a web services and a web application. It was the same, let's say, application, but it got API in a web and it got API in a web services. And I was really lucky that these were two separate projects in two separate times. I was lucky that I've got both of the project, one after another. So it's working like this. Web application wrote the encoded data to the database, and so I couldn't inject anything. And when I was testing the web services, I found out that web services encoding the data before they are sent back to web services. So there was an application server encoding the data and sent to me. And what's happened? I was able to, using web services, inject the malicious code, inject the XSS to the database and read it in the web application. Because I was doing the web application after web services, I found that bug. If I was doing opposite, I would never found it. Because first I need to inject the malicious code to the database and then it read. Yeah, and this really happened. If I test it on the other side, it won't execute it, I wouldn't found it. Another problem is skipping some functionalities. So there are systems when someone is telling us, yeah, you know, this part is not ready, don't test it. We will test it further. So it's not a good idea to skip this part of the application and then test it only this part of the application because they are integrated. It's the same system as in the previous slide. It's working as a one and it should be tested as a one. Very good example when there is a pen test and they ask us to not test the login functionality because it will be done in a different way. Right now is a login and password, but it will be done like two-factor authentication, maybe some token, we're not decided yet. So this is only like for a temporary access, so just test it then and we will apply something that is secure. Yeah, but not only system itself, but also the implementation is important. Lack of application data. I have few times in my professional life that I had tested application. There were no data inside. It's a problem for us because sometimes you can upload or create some crap data, and sometimes you need the data that are real. There's a good example. In Poland, we have a system, core system for a banking, which is called DEF3000. And one day I was asked to test this, and the test was without any data. So can you imagine creating, for example, a client for this data? So it requires, we have some special number that identify each person. It is structured with some checks, so it needs to be real one. And we have also some examples numbers that you can check on the government page. But this application was checking them. So I need to provide a real number, real ID number, and a real account number, because it was checking some kind of system if the account really exists or not. So there were many data that I need to provide that were real. And this was really a big problem for me. And there was also some connection that before you create those data, you need to create this one. If you've got a client, then you can create an account. But before you don't have a client, you cannot create an account. There was some connections with that, and it took me 3 days to create a client, an account, and some mortgage for him. Okay, another one. Fifth one, can I be a Luke Skywalker? No. It's also from my childhood when we are playing roles, and everybody want to be a Luke Skywalker. Someone said, no, you cannot be. So the problem is that when we are testing the application, we need at least 2 accounts for each role. Why? Because different roles are for testing vertical privileges, the same role are for testing horizontal privileges, and sometimes different roles have access to the different part of the application that cannot be found from the other side. That's why we always need 2 accounts for each role that can log into the application. An example, we were testing an application where there was some regular account for the employees and administration account, and we asked for 2 accounts of the normal one and 2 accounts of administrator. And they told us, no, because we have only 2 administrators and can be trusted, so they don't do any malicious things on the application, so we can trust it. But we was asking day after day, and the last day of the testing, they gave us the administrative account. Yeah, you can check, but be careful. And what we find out, that the administration panel that was there for privileges, for deleting account, for creating account, was a simple link that was obfuscated. It was random generated link and hard-coded. So if you've got this link, as a normal user, you can log in, go there, and change anything you want. But without getting this administrative account, you would never found this link. No, I think they were not aware of that this is the problem. Because it was like, when you log in as an administrator, there was a redirection to this link and everything was okay, so probably they were not aware that this link can be used by any user. Okay, the 6th one, let's do it together. This category contains 2 topics, like different tests made parallel, and patching the environment during the test. So like doing test parallel, it's like cutting the tree into points. I met many times situation when during the pen test were done some different tests, like they were uploading the data, they were deleting data. So the problem is when you are doing the same, you never know if anything that you send changed the state of the application, because someone is changing the state of the application also. So this is the problem. Another problem is patching the environment. It's simple source code. It doesn't matter what's written on it, but you can see how many CVEs for the code was in, like, I don't know, it's 40 or 50 lines of the code. That's why you cannot create the patches like on the fly. Wait for the pentest report, sit on there, think how you can do it, and then create normal patch, because even the simplest patch that is not created properly contains more vulnerabilities in it. Okay, the last one, it's something which is called post-production. So we will be talking about this scene is made generally by the programmer, so someone that is fixing the code, and it contains like user data filtering, my application is not internet facing, and prove it. User data filtering, I just placed it here, a few examples of payloads that can be used for testing XSS. It's taken from some kind of site, but it shows how many different payloads can test one vulnerability. And the problem here, the problem here is that I met many times people that are trying to filter my payloads. Not they trying to resolve the problem, but filtering the payload. Like, for example, they cut the word alert. So I send to them that you have a problem. You've got the payload. Fix it. You cannot do this. Okay, please retest. I retested. Yeah, they cut the word alert. So I use the word prompt and send to them. And next time they send back, okay, they cut alert, they cut prompt. No, they cut JavaScript. Jesus, okay, so they just JavaScript colon. So I place JavaScript space colon, send to them. Okay, so they cut tag image. Jesus. So I send with, I don't remember, with a tag or something like this. And this was 6 iterations of this before they fix it correctly. And each time I wrote them filter those 4 characters. Cut them. Nothing more. Not the alert, not the prompt, but only the 4 characters that's responsible. I was guessing. Around 90% of XSSs are caused because of those 4 characters are not filtered. Nothing more. The rest are related either to UTF encoding or injection directly to JavaScript. So, but it's rare, but those 4 characters are responsible for 90% of XSS I found, nothing more. Another problem, sometimes when we are saying that, yeah, you have a problem, it's XSS, it's SQL injection, we got response, yeah, but my application is not internet facing, why do I fix this? Or please lower the value of the SQL injection. It's not a problem for us, it is used by 5 administrators only. So what is the problem? And the problem is that if it's not directly internet facing, we've got different type of access like phishing, farming, whaling. It's a very popular test that one guy from Poland did as a testing for phishing. He creates some special USB sticks that contains a malicious code and like 10 of them, and drop it in the place when the administrator went for a smoke. You know, so someone was grabbing this and one of the administrators tried to see what's inside, right? So even if the application, even if the computer is not connected facing, you always can find a way that you can get inside. Or the one I really like was when in company, someone left the CD with like incomes 2010 and leave it. And someone grab it and run it inside the PC. So we have scam emails, etc., etc. So that the application is not internet facing is not the solution. A small example, and everybody knows about those RSA company that was attacked, but it's a good example. The server that were attacked, they were not directly connected to the internet. They were connected to the internal network. Someone sent a mail, someone opened it, they were waiting for a password, then they log into the domain controller, blah, 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 blah. But it shows that it's not always need to the server or the application be connected to the internet to hack to it. The last one that I really like, it's something that I call it proof. Why I place those car parts? Because if you are going with the car to your mechanical and he's saying your brakes are ending, you need to change it. You change it. If he said your oil is old, you need to change it. So why, if we are doing a pen test and we are providing, you have SQL injection, it's a high vulnerability. You can do a lot of this. Yeah, prove it. I know that I was working several years. I know, yeah, but prove it. We do not have a problem with that, or XSS. This is of course, if you pay us, we will prove it. It's not a problem. But pay us extra for just providing you a special attack that you will see that everything is vulnerable. This is the same problem with high management and all those C persons that they don't believe in technical details. You are talking with them and they do not believe. You've got SQL injection, you can get to the database, you can do anything you want. And he's saying, yeah. I can read your previous salary. Okay, we need to fix that. It was the same with other guy when we said, yeah, you've got XSS, you can hack to your computer, but yes, I know that. I can read your Outlook. Ah, okay, fix it. Let's go with that, yeah. So sometimes the problem that some people do not believe us, like maybe not believe, but they are not technical to understand what we are saying, and some people are trying to be too more technical that try us to prove that, create a whole campaign that shows that, yeah, we can break to the computer of your account manager or someone else. How we can mitigate those problems? So I think the only one way is education. So the people that are responsible from the client side, like those risk managers and those programmers, need to be also educated in the security. I met the guys that were writing a web application and they didn't know what XSS is. They do not understand the idea of this vulnerability. So we need to send them a link in Wikipedia, then they read the link. We need to explain them where is the bug, and this really happened. So also the risk managers, sometimes they are reading the reports and they do not believe what is said that, or do not know what to say that. Yeah, once I met the risk analyst that asked me, you know, the high value of this vulnerability is not very good. Can you change it to medium? And I said, why? You know, because we've got the system that is watching after each pen test. You need to provide critical and high vulnerabilities, and then these vulnerabilities are tracked by our system, and the report is sent to someone very important, and if he sees that there is a red, he's very pissed off. And if you change it to medium, then we don't need to put to the system. Okay, but you still have a problem. Yeah, but it's not my problem. My problem is to do not have any vulnerabilities in the system. Okay. There are many resources available on the internet. You can find many interesting things on a OWASP web page. There is a OWASP application security verification standard process. I didn't wrote those texts, I just copied it from, so you can read it. There is other OWASP testing guide version 4, recently was published. It's not like a pen testing framework, but it contains good practices, a description of the attacks, of type of vulnerabilities. So it's very good start if you do not know anything about testing or about vulnerabilities that can be found. Very good document to read. And of course, many more. So if you have someone that is not educated, send him, tell him that if you are working for a security and doing the pen test, you need to know something about this. Thank you very much. Any questions? No questions, no answers. Thank you.